It's now time for us to look at what the papers are reporting this morning. We have the Nation newspaper saying Buhari exits in blaze of glory. Tinubu, African leaders, governors, ordinary folk bid ex-president farewell. The Punch newspaper, final salute. Nigeria bids Buhari emotional farewell. Blueprint newspaper, Nigeria stands still as Buhari laid to rest in Daura. Tinubu, Shettima, Guinea-Bissau, Nigerian leaders, others bid farewell. The Guardian newspaper, leaders, friends, politicians unite in stately farewell for former President Muhammad Buhari. This Nigeria, and Buhari returns to the earth. Tears, long faces, gun salutes as ex-president remains interred in Daura. Daily Trust newspaper, how Buhari was honored, buried. And then Nigerian News Direct also mourns the former president. National mourning commences as former president Buhari laid to rest in Daura. And we have state honors, tight security as Osinbajo, Amechi, others bid farewell. Leadership newspaper still mourns this morning, rest at last. Tinubu, ex-Nigerian leader, VP Atiku, Osinbajo, Dangote, others pay final respects to Buhari in Daura. Nigerian Tribune is talking about recent events in Abuja, which has to do with Nigeria. The Patriots all-inclusive confab begins in Abuja. Delegates set to discuss future of constitutional democracy, plan to draft people's constitution. Daily Independent, Cashew expansion drive, investors eye 7.2 trillion naira inflow into economy. And Platform Times talks about national grid crisis deepens. Universities, MTN, NDA, 16 others generate own power. And Sport and Life, Osimhen's transfer. Napoli president's son get death threats. Turkish side rejects new terms for Nigerian. I'll be doing this with my colleagues, Etoma, Veronica, and Ria. You guys are welcome to demystifying the front pages of these newspapers. If you look at the Punch newspaper, the Nation newspaper, Blueprint newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, This Nigeria, Daily Trust, Nigerian News Direct, and the Leadership newspaper, all are still in the mourning mood, the somber mood, reflecting what had transpired over the weekend up until now, where we had to bury former President Muhammad Buhari in a solemn atmosphere.
When I saw the video of that burial, I asked myself, is Daura big enough to carry the number of people that were there? It was a humongous.
So if Daura were a bridge, it could have fallen.
It could have fallen, definitely. It was a humongous crowd, and the notable thing there is that it wasn't just a crowd. It was an assemblage of some of the bigwigs in Africa, in Nigeria, and we even had the king of Saudi Arabia in attendance. It was a big thing. And another thing that stood out for me was when President Tinubu bowed to the remains of his predecessor. It was a solemn, quite solemn ceremony for me. And I believe that he was given a burial that was befitting a former president of Nigeria. May so rest in peace.
Veronica?
All right, well, Daura was yesterday a shrine, seemingly, for a somber mood, a somber shrine for mourning, national mourning yesterday. And we saw the sea of mourners yesterday from all walks of life. Politicians who had different ideology all came together. Some of them just wanted to pay their last respect by carrying his remains, joining those who were carrying his remains. He got the 21 gun salute, and you saw what happened, how simple that ceremony was. And it was said that he was buried in a special spot that he loved to stay in his garden in his house. I loved the posture of our president. He was obviously really overtaken by the death of his predecessor. And we saw the support that even his wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, was giving to the wife of the late president, and also We saw the children who said that they were heartbroken. You see, all of us Nigerians, let me use the word, we're unified in the matters of mourning yesterday. And I would say that the former president was given the honor he deserved. State funeral was all we saw yesterday in its simplicity.
That's right. Talking about simplicity, Buhari, former President Muhammad Buhari is credited to have lived an austere life, very simple life, and we could see that even in his death, as he was interred yesterday, we saw how simple everything had to go, although it's in line with the Islamic right there.
But
what came to your mind?
One picture that stood out for me is the place he loves to sit down was put aside. He was buried there, and you could see the picture of him sitting down there. I love the fact that a lot of Nigerians came together, you know, despite the political differences, came together just to lay him, you know, to rest. And talking about it, this is a former president, so at the end of the day, he deserved that. And I love the fact that he was peaceful. We didn't hear anything like riot, anything like fight, like he was laid peacefully. Our president also definitely showed his support, the bow and everything. It was really, really beautiful, and I love the fact that he was laid to rest well. We are not seeing any controversy or anything that happened there. It was peaceful, just like the way he lived his life, and I think that, you know, all I can say right now is that he would rest in peace, and he will forever be remembered, definitely.
Absolutely.
Quickly, before you move over to another issue, is that what we saw yesterday, the videos we saw, I think yesterday, that we played on Trending Now, where some people were, you know, laughing and happy that he was gone. But we saw the mood in Daura, we saw what happened, and we saw the number of persons that showed up, that it was obviously doctored. That video was obviously doctored from the look of things.
And then what lessons for us as a people, and for us as for our leaders in Nigeria and the global stage, where whenever they're in power, they thrive on corruption, they thrive on controversy, they thrive on, you know, animosity. But what we saw yesterday showed that it will now be you, because we saw, well, entourage, everyone, it was just Buhari alone, interred in his grave. What lessons do you think we as individuals, as heads, presidents, global world leaders, what do you think we can learn from this very quickly?
Everything in life is transient. Everything in life is transient. Power, money, clothes, you know, possessions, everything is transient. Everything will fizzle off.
That's right.
So the important thing is the legacy you leave, you know. If you understand that, then pride wouldn't come in. You get? You will treat everybody as equals. And for leaders, justice is what you should push for, you know. Live a clean life. In our parents' days, there was this slogan that they used to banter around. I led a clean life in the service. I have records to show.
That's right. That's right. And they say it boastfully.
They say it with a lot of pride.
Yeah.
I have records to show I never stole. You know, so the moral high ground was really, really big at that time. So if you understand that everything is transient, if you really do understand that, then that is the kind of statement you will want to bandy around.
Veronica, very quickly, piece of advice.
Well, we should always learn from whatever we see happen around us. Nobody is going with anything. Obviously, he alone, like you mentioned, was buried yesterday. I think the lesson for us is that we should live life as simple as possible. Don't make life complex for yourself. People may not understand you. It's not for them to understand, but do what you think God approves, because it is him you are going to give account to at the end of the day.
Imagine, you know, having to stand in front of God, and then you are asked to account for every little thing you've done. You know, there is an Islamic story of one of the religious persons. You know, he said he accounted for his deeds on earth for 12 years before God finally forgave him, not that he passed.
Yes.
But you know, at the end of the day, I tell people that you cannot live for human beings, because when you die, you go alone. They have never buried anybody with somebody, even your mother, your father, your brother. You are alone. So when you're living life, you need to, you know, live rightly at the end of the day. And like Thomas says, legacy, and this is to our leaders. I've said it several times. We can see that you go alone, and what to be remembered is what you have done. So and I'm speaking to our leaders here, like, let's do right, so that when we go, people can say good things about you. People can remember you for the good things that you have done.
At least do your best and know that you've done your best.
And leave
the rest to Almighty God.
Chew on. Absolutely. Yeah. Right, so let's move on to the Nigerian Tribune, and this speaks to those of us that are living, and may God rest the soul of the departed. The Patriots all-inclusive confab begins in Abuja. Delegates set to discuss future of constitutional democracy, plan to draft people's constitution. So we're having the like of Wole Soyinka, Michael Zekome, mention all of the names, the big names that have contributed to the democracy of this country, the policy direction, etc., who will now be convening in Abuja to chart a new course forward. Maybe now giving us an autonomous constitution, jettisoning the one that we currently operate on. But we started this in 2014. What happened to the report? Here we go again.
We've had other organizations that have come up with draft constitutions too. The Afenifere, for example, had one, and that had been some serious, I think in 2005 was when I saw a copy of that, And the names you've mentioned are men of timber, caliber, caterpillar, and bulldozer. Anything you want to say. These are intellectual heavyweights.
That's right.
When I saw that and I said, draft constitution, are they going to do it in collaboration with the National Assembly, or they are going to put a draft together and try to push it? Whichever it is. Those men are distinguished. Those men are highly intelligent people. Right. I hope that the confab will not just be another meet and talk and that's it. Let's see if after the confab something tangible will come out of it.
We have this being chaired by Emeka Nyoku, who is GCON CFR. We also have Benga Daniel, former Ogun State Governor. Honorable Senator Aminu Tambuwal. Just name the names. Name the names, Veronica. What are you looking forward to seeing?
As long as you are not collaborating with the National Assembly, for me, it is going nowhere. Well, except they are able to lobby the National Assembly to reflect all of these changes that they are looking forward to, because we're seeing that we are amending our constitution. We are in that process where we are amending our constitution as it stands to reflect, the demands of Nigerians. And so if they are not doing that, then they cannot move forward with whatever it is they are doing, because they need the handshake of the National Assembly for this to become law at the end of the day. So if they are able to lobby their way with whatever it is they are doing, that's fine. But if not, then we are just having a conversation as usual. We've had conferences, we've had all sorts, but how far has that moved us? So until we begin to take certain steps, there are those who will tell you that our constitution does not even need any review. It is the fact that we need to enforce and do the needful, what is written in black and white. Until we begin to do that, then we'll get the results we need.
Well, the president will be doing the opening speech. I think it was meant to start yesterday, but probably started one way or the other, but this is fully backed by the president.
No, but the obvious truth is if they don't work with the National Assembly, it's not going to go anywhere. We've seen a lot of conferences that they don't stand the test of time. That's why when I see things like this, I'm not excited, because after a few days, it may go down the drill. So I want to see, the ideologies. I want to see if they will be able to lobby with the National Assembly and work together, because them working alone, it's not going to go anywhere.
All right, let's talk business. Now, Cashew expansion drive, investors eye 7.2 trillion naira inflow into economy. You see that on Daily Independent. Set to reposition Nigeria as world's largest producer. Target production capacity of 2 million metric tons by 2030. Cashew is just beyond cashew. There's a whole lot of byproducts that you can get from cashew. Talk about shell oil or something. Talk about the juice. Talk about the cashew nut, which is a cash cow kind of. So we also have this coming from Ogbomoso and some other southwestern states and even in the north. How do you think this is a good opportunity for us to tap in from?
Yes, it is a very, very good opportunity. You just mentioned how lucrative cashew and how important it is. In my village, we have a small plantation of it. And that's how I got to know that you could make some serious alcohol out of
whatever concerns everyone, you can take it from there.
Why am I thinking in a certain direction?
No, don't think in that certain direction. The nuts are good. The juice that comes out of the nuts could be used as fuel and could be refined to so many different things. So if Nigeria is pushing to increased production of cashew, it's a step in the right direction, and I think everybody should support it.
Veronica, how much do you like your cashew? I remember I used to climb cashew
young,
tree at the time.
climbing cashew tree is not as tall, but if you talk about mango, yes, I climbed.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. I was a tomboy. I did. So, talking about cashew nuts, I used to roast cashew nuts while I was young.
Nice.
So to get the nuts out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's good if we are able to do all that is necessary to ensure that we get more of those crops and export them. We need more inflow of foreign direct investment. We need more inflow of forex as a country.
That's right.
So if we can do that, because we said we are a dependent, we are not production, more of a producing country. Rather we are import dependent. So it's important that if this is a leeway for us, we do the needful as much as possible. Everyone has to be on all fours, and that's state governments now, because they have the lands. Are they going to make that available to farmers who are farming cashew nuts so that they can thrive in this aspect?
When I see stories like this, I like it because I take cashew with Gary. I don't know if anybody else does that.
Oh yes, oh no, it's really nice.
And we know that Nigeria is the 4th largest when it comes to cashew production. So I feel like the government also has to work with us. State government has to work for this to happen. And I love the fact that we now get to export, because normally it's the other way around.
That's right.
So I think it's a step in the right direction. And I hope that it can stand the test of time, and I hope that we can follow through with it. Not just that we see these headlines and tomorrow we're not talking about it.
It's actually cash cow, just as cocoa is also, billion-dollar industry now.
And
ginger. So cashew can help your eyes, your hair, your skin, so it can even help you sleep well if you're having insomnia.
Oh, really?
Yes, very well.
Magnesium.
Exactly. So let's move on to the platform times. National grid crisis deepens. Universities, MTN, NDA, 16 others generate own power. And we just discussed NPTN generating power along the expressway.
Oh my God.
Oh boy, it is. When you remember that we are actually providing electricity to other African countries, it makes me sad that we are doing that and we don't have enough. Why should organizations within Nigeria, be generating their own power?
That's right.
When we have PHCN? I really don't understand what's going on. It's sad.
Veronica, very quickly.
Well, if they do not have an alternative, they have to generate their power as it is. I think that state governments need to take responsibility, full responsibility, because we have seen that some work has been done with the Constitution where states can now generate power. And so it will be easier for universities to have source of power from the state, because they are resident in certain states. So the state will be able to provide for them. But until that is done, we'll keep going on with these kinds of conversations. So it's important that we do the needful as a country. It's becoming tiring to keep saying, state governments, do what you are supposed to do. It's important.
And when we ask why are they dumping it, we see what happens to the national grid. Every 4 days, it's like it's going up and it's coming, it's going up. So it's I'm not even blaming them for saying that they want to come out, but then it's
sorry, Rhea, did you say 4 AK days?
We see what happened with the grid. So and we know what power is. Without power, there are a lot of things that have to be done if you do not have power. So I can understand why they want to back out, but it's just sad that we are still talking about the national grid and.
And to put it factually, the national grid collapse has been reduced to the bare minimum, but not exactly as 4 AK days. I know you're only trying to be hyperbolic, All right, so I didn't get the directive, but let's quickly talk about
the conversation.
All right, so 4 AK days, is AK Ghanaian or
no? AK is Igbo. That's why I'm surprised. Yes.
No, we understand.
You understand.
Why shouldn't I be surprised?
Because
I know what.
You know where the language is from now.
Oh yeah, now
you see.
Okay. Now I understand.
But the thing there is, if the power, the national grid has been deregulated by the APC administration, so to speak, why is it difficult for states? I think there is a moratorium, placed on it for them to be able to, okay, let's see how we can go about it. But why is it that we are delaying things that we know that will be, in the long run, benefit for the entire nation?
Actually, some states had gone ahead of the APC government that has given
that leeway,
legal rights to states. Cross River State, for example, has a power generating a station, and that was built like 8 years ago, and it has all the power has been fed into the national grid and so on. One of the reasons why state governments will want to drag their feet is the sheer costs of putting these things together. It's quite expensive. And then apart from that, it is also a project that you have to go through one consultant after another consultant after another consultant. So it takes time. That's what I mean. It takes time to put together. Maybe all the state governments have embraced this thing, but because of the time requirement, we are not seeing action yet. You know, my prayer is that all of them have actually embraced it, and in 2-3 years, we are going to see action.
Yeah. So, Veronica,
action. If we keep saying time, there's no time, or we are looking at the timing, if you do not start, then you are delaying
what
much
I mean
more.
by action is that we're actually going to have the plans working. You know, the process of putting these things together, it takes a lot of...
I get your point.
Come to think of it, you know, a few years ago, the Obasanjo administration invested $16 billion. And then the Buhari administration asked, where is the power? Even they admitted that it was a failure, it was a sham, and they could not even account for this money.
It's unfortunate when we talk about accountability and all of it. This is what we are still talking about. If we are looking at timing, for instance, the second Niger bridge, the Buhari administration started it. Another administration completed it. It is government or governance is a continuum. So it must not be in your name. Start the project. Let another person build on it. Because when you're talking about electricity, everybody needs it.
Everybody needs it.
All right, Sport and Live, which is the last we have to quickly race on. We were looking at Osimhen, you know, raising his hand over his head. Napoli president's son gets death threats. Turkish side rejects new terms for Nigerian. Please now, they should just make this thing.
They are becoming unreasonable. They are becoming unreasonable. It's even beyond the 20% now. It's about, okay, you agreed on 75 million euros, and you are saying the payment has to be done between this year and next year, and Galatasaray is saying extend it to 2027. And because they know that the capacity to pay such monies will take its toll on them, and they need something more flexible. But Napoli is insistent, especially the president is insistent, saying you pay 40 first, you pay 35 next year.
It's very simple. It's bad belly.
It's looking like a personal attack to me, actually.
I don't understand.
Leave that guy alone. All right, just stay with us here on TVC Breakfast. Still ahead, Nigeria witnessed a substantial increase in domestic rice production, reducing imports under late President Buhari's administration. Stay with us for more insights.